Well, if you can believe it, there is an unspoken cybersecurity problem that's killing companies, killing jobs, and costing us billions. I'm Ann Larichello, and I'm here with Ray and Mitch with cybersecurity. Unspoken, what does that mean?
Well, the unspoken problem, company leaders, and that's the crucial linchpin in this conversation, that company leaders are just not informed, and we're not talking about it enough. We're not focused on it enough. Now, when the Chinese stole our F-35 fighter, did any generals get court-martialed on that? Did any Lockheed Martin executives go to jail? No. No repercussions, okay? But we lost the fighter. We've lost all of our major weapon systems to the Chinese. Any other generals going to jail? No. But we've got a leadership problem in the country. The leadership is not technically aware. The leadership is not aware of cybersecurity that much. They know there's a problem, and they're not concerned enough about the problem. And when we say it's unspoken, I mean, we're not speaking about, we're not addressing the leaders to the extent that we should, and the leaders are not engaged to the extent. And that even goes higher than the CEO, and goes higher than the COO, goes higher than that.
You just said something which is great, and I think it's important to point to. So you said they stole the F-35. Now, they didn't go creep into an airbase somewhere and steal an airplane. What they did was creep into a company and steal the data. Yeah. That's the thing that's actually much more valuable. So they were able to go off and take that data, and now they can go replicate the plane, they can understand how the defenses of it work and things like that. So the ability that these guys have nowadays is to steal the data.
So if we're talking billions of dollars, why isn't more being done about it? Do people just not understand this?
Well, we said uninformed, right? That was a lack of deal. And so it's not like we've got bad people running the country or anything like that. We just have people running the country. I'm going to tell a story that Mitch has told many times. In the past, if we had a break-in or a theft, you would see the office door ajar, you would see the cabinets open, you would see machinery missing, you would see physical evidence of the break-in and the theft. In today's world, not required. Today, they can be inside a company for 2 years and taking information out on a daily basis. We're not seeing it. So over a period of time, a lot of money, a lot of value is lost. Maybe not in direct cash. Many times it is cash, but then it's the intellectual gems of the company. It's their intellectual property. It's all the knowledge that they had to run their company, their customer lists, their processes. All of that is stolen, and that's where the billions and billions of dollars stack up. And the numbers are so huge, we can't track them. There's no adequate tracking of these numbers. Mitch just engaged in a project trying to find this information for another talk. What did you find in this engagement about the amount of money?
Well, the first thing is that the numbers are conflicting with each other. Mm-hmm. So you'll see, you know, one says it's $1 billion, one says it's $5 billion, one says it's $10 billion. Because there really is no data there. What we have is data on what has been reported, and the FBI is one reporting set, the Internet Crime Center, IC3. But most people don't report crimes to that, and I think the one thing we have to understand: there's two kinds of cybercrime. But one is the kind of the smash and grab kind of thing where they break the storefront and steal something. That's very obvious. But the bigger part of cybercrime is the much more subtle and covert cybercrime where they're trying to stay in there and stay under the radar and stay undetected, because what they want to know, for example, if it's industrial espionage, they want to know what you're going to bid on the next bid that you're making. Oh. They want to know what your next patent application is going to be. They want to know what your business strategy is. They want to know what your customer going forward, so they don't want to tip their hand. One of the things they'll do is they'll exfiltrate, they'll steal data at a very slow rate. It's like a drip, so that people don't see a surge on their bandwidth utilization, because they don't want to be detected. The bad hacker is the hacker that gets detected. The good hacker is the one that stays in there forever and ever.
So that's kind of like when you have a credit card and you start seeing just little tiny purchases, you know, gas here, a little bit there, but you don't really think anything of it.
Exactly.
So what is one basic rule? Obviously, if you're going to do it go big or go home, hire a company and men such as yourself. But what's one basic rule that you could give to companies?
Employee training would be, I think, the number one thing, because the employees are going to be the point of attack in order to get into the organization. The employees are typically going to have to do something, whether it's visiting a website, opening an email, clicking on a link, opening an affected office document, something like that. So I think one thing I would absolutely do, and part of that training is anti-phishing training. So we tell our clients, you should be phishing your employees, and this goes all the way up to the CEO. Phishing your employees like every week. If you buy phishing software, for example, that we sell, it doesn't cost you more if you do more phishing attacks. You have a subscription, it costs you whatever the subscription costs. Do more. And we see that a lot of our clients have become very, very effective at their anti-phishing campaigns, such that almost nobody inside the organization clicks on malicious links.
Okay, so it sounded as though a lot of companies, not a lot, but maybe some companies are ignoring the problem. Why do you think that is? Do you think that maybe they're thinking that it's too expensive for them to invest in sort of this cybersecurity protection? What are you seeing?
Unfortunately, Ann, with too many companies, the leadership has its head in the sand. They know there's a problem. They just don't want to confront it. And because they don't see the evidence of the theft, because this is kind of a silent crime, people don't face it. People tend to do the things that they have to do. That's the way we are, right? And we don't do things until we have to do them. And with this particular crime wave, and by the way, cybercrime is now a bigger crime category than traditional crime.
Oh, wow.
Yes, people don't know this.
No, I didn't know that.
And police departments are not set up to deal with it, so you're not going to get support from them. And people are not aware of this again. So again, we were talking about what is the big unspoken issue. Well, it's because people don't know and leadership is weak in this area. And they don't want to spend the money. While we talked about ROI in another segment, the ROI on a cybersecurity investment is not immediate. It doesn't drop to the bottom line. But what is the value of your company if you lost the company? So,
sure.
I mean, it's a huge ROI. So it gets back to, instead of being an unspoken issue, it must be a spoken issue, and it must be spoken throughout the company, starting with the leader. If the leadership is behind cybersecurity, if leadership is engaged in this battle, the rest of the troops will line up. There is no problem. It will happen.
So what do you think that people are ignoring this until they get hit? Is that what's happening? That they're not realizing the depth, the breadth of it until they're starting to lose that money?
If they get hit, they won't be ignoring it anymore.
Yep.
We get business one of three ways. Someone has a breach. Okay, we got their attention. Next issue is compliance, a legal compliance issue. Okay, they got a law that they've got to obey for some reason or other. And then the third one is they've got a big customer. They've got a big customer, they don't want to lose that customer, and that customer is telling them, I can't do business with you unless you get your cybersecurity ducks in a row. We'll get the business that way. But you're right, a breach gets their attention, and that will change the game internally, because they've no telling what loss they have suffered during that breach and how their reputation has been impacted.
And we are seeing for large companies who are contracting out to vendors that they're becoming much more diligent because they have legal requirements on them, asking their vendors to go off and say, show me that your cybersecurity house is in order before I give you my data. In fact, under Colorado law, the law now says that before you share data with a third party, you must ascertain that that third party can protect the data.
So in other words, you have pointed out that this is the silent killer of companies. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Well, if you would like more tips, visit their YouTube page or go to cybersecurities.com and take note, securities is spelled with a C.